Hey everyone, Monica Jazik from RPI Education, and welcome to the Financial Freedom Summit. In this series, you'll hear from 21 experts sharing powerful wealth building strategies that 98% of people are not using. These interviews are packed with real actionable steps to help you fast track your financial freedom. So let's jump in with today's guest, John Reeser. John, how are you?
Great. Happy to be here.
It's so great to see you again. And I have a bio here. I'm going to quickly read to our audience so they get a better idea of who you are and what you do. So, John is a visionary in the events industry. He stands at the forefront of the events industry as the esteemed president and CEO of Better Events with a career spanning over 2 decades. John has been instrumental in orchestrating some of the nation's grandest and most dynamic business to business trade shows, conferences, and networking events. Under his leadership, Better Events has seen a decade of remarkable growth, setting new standards in the industry. John's flagship event, BizCon Business Expo, has been a cornerstone event for the Golden Horseshoe area, eagerly anticipated by the business community each year. And these events are not just meetings, but celebrations of innovation and collaboration that attract substantial attention in larger markets. John's expertise as a world-class connector has been pivotal in supporting the growth and success of tens of thousands of small to medium-sized enterprises. His ability to bring people together and foster meaningful business relationships is unparalleled, making him a revered figure among entrepreneurs and business leaders. Thank you, John. I love this. I love all of it. This is very exciting stuff here. I do believe in the power of networking and the power of events. I do firmly believe that your network is your net worth. So thank you, first of all, for putting on such amazing events that we've actually been part of and really, really enjoyed getting to know you through this platform. So let's get into the questions here because I know you have a lot of knowledge to share here. So, what is the exact wealth building strategy that you're going to be talking about today that really has created financial freedom in your life?
We're going to be talking about the mindset surrounding how you view wealth and your mindset surrounding your strategy in building your wealth and building your network. Um, just like you said, and I mean, I'll second that, I'll third that, and that's your network is your net worth. And there's a tremendous amount of value that can be found in finding meaningful connections out there, people that can help you, people that you find synergy with, and people that you can help as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And would you say that most people like use the power of networking that are not in this business, like the everyday person? How do you think the everyday person sort of perceives networking and community versus entrepreneurs like you and I, who really
Oh
kind of
yeah.
we need it?
Yeah. Well, I think every person, for the most part, has some version of a network, right? The difference is how they approach the growth of that network. I think the average person out there um, has more of an organic network. Maybe it's like people you went to school with, friends, like members of your like local club, or like friends of your or parents of your children, like children's friends, things like that. Like it's just more of an organic type growth of just people that you happen upon throughout your life. And these people become like part of your network, and you really don't even foster those relationships very much, but like maybe they're your friend on Facebook. If you have LinkedIn, they might be on there, but you probably don't have LinkedIn. And it's very impersonal and not very nurtured. Whereas the entrepreneur, I think they approach networking very differently, right? Um, Especially the entrepreneurs that have found the value in networking. You will find that they really do nurture that, and they're very proactive. They get out there and they're continuously looking for ways to expand their network, but not with just anyone. They're looking to expand their network with people that they align with, uh, people that they find synergies with. other business owners, like-minded people, and they tend to nurture those relationships a little bit more. So, they'll be reaching out, they'll be finding different ways to connect. There'll be multiple touch points throughout, and there'll always be exploration as to how there may be collaboration or synergies between them and the people within their network. And it continues to grow, and it's very not only referral based where you're meeting somebody through different networking groups or different avenues throughout your network, but at the same time it's also very personal in a sense that you're making the effort to get out there and meet people face to face and nurture those new relationships.
Yes, I think like that nature nurture sort of thing. You
Yes.
need to nurture these relationships, and your environment really shapes you as someone who wants, because I think that your environment can either keep you stuck, like you said, if you're friends with all the people that you were friends with from before in school, you really are the sum of your five people you surround yourself with. And a lot of the people, you'll see similarities with people. Sometimes you will expand, but even when you expand your kids' sports groups, like we have four kids, so we have like all these sports families that we're part of because we're with them so much as the kids
Yep,
are
same
doing their
here.
sports and they're in their events. And you notice there are commonalities in that group as well, particularly one, you're all parents, two, you have, something with a particular sport, and three, you're usually geographically zoned to a particular area. And it really is interesting that how the reflection of these types of communities are a reflection of our life where we are currently at. And then you have to kind of take it to the next level thinking of asking yourself, am I at a point in my life of where I want to go? Because if you want to go and you want more and your goals are more, and you want to change your continuous environment, you can no longer continue to surround yourself with those people that you're familiar with. I mean, if it's a great environment, keep doing it. But
Absolutely.
if it's something like you want to improve, you're not going to benefit yourself by only surrounding yourself in that area, in that network from those people. Sometimes you have to change your environment and change your network entirely. And a good example of this, and I know this isn't about business networking, but I wonder what your thoughts are on this. People who are creating a new life for themselves, because say they're escaping poverty and dangerous environments, dangerous relationships, or even substance abuse. A lot of the times to remove themselves entirely and place themselves in a new environment is absolutely necessary. And those are pretty bad examples, like of a worst case scenario. But
Mhm.
if you forward us to people who are everyday people who are doing okay, but you want to be doing better, I think if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the
Change
wrong
rooms.
room.
Right. Yeah, that's a famous quote. And honestly, I think those people who have to change their environment entirely, they learn really fast the value of networking and the value of like changing the environment that you're in, that the people that you surround yourself with, and sort of they've learned the hard way, right? So it's like if you're in a bad relationship, right, you know what you don't want when you go into your next relationship, sort of the same thing. But if you just look at your networks, right, even the organic networks that you build throughout your lifetime, that you didn't proactively go out and try to make, it just sort of happened to you. um how many doors has that unlocked for you really, right? Like, it's always, I know somebody who knows somebody, right? You have some pain point in your life or something that you're up to, whether it's like you got to build a deck in your house or you have to sell, you have to buy a new home or you have to oh, you're looking for a new car. Well, oh, you know what? My friend from high school, their, daughter works at the car dealership, so like
Mhm.
I'm going to go there, I'm going to get a deal, right? Just little things like that. You'll start to find like how many times in your life have you said, "Oh, well, I got a guy or I know somebody," right? And these are like just happening off of organic relationships that you've built throughout your life.
Yeah.
Now, compound that. Now take the business owner, entrepreneur mindset, somebody who understands the value of building your network, someone who's gone out there and made connections. I can speak firsthand on connections. I've made thousands of connections over the years. And, I pretty much know somebody for almost everything, right? And it has been a valuable, like an invaluable tool. Um, that it has unlocked so many doors for me and my life and my business that it is just immeasurable. And that is really something that I want to help share with the audience and get people to understand that that is really a different mindset and is going to unlock so many doors for you, is just getting out there and expanding your network and connecting with people that can help you. And the thing that I really find is like human nature is people genuinely want to help, especially if there's a personal connection there. Um, and when somebody comes to me, like I genuinely want to help them as well. And that sort of reciprocal relationship, that's what networking is all about.
Absolutely. No, and people with social media, so many people online today and by themselves, it really is great to have people like yourself provide these venues because people don't know how to meet people. Else am I going to enter a room and meet like 100 professionals if it is not a business expo?
Yeah.
You're not going to
Well,
find that online and be able to go out and shake hands and actually meet people. And it's nerve-wracking for some people as well, which is why you have great environments that encourage networking, have icebreakers, make sure you have food, you have music, you have drinks, you have, a total ambiance. There's a whole science behind networking to get people to open up because those people, they may be nervous and traditional like planning today might say, or most people don't go because they're scared. They're scared of rejection. They're scared they won't have anything to say. They're scared of maybe the way they look, or they're scared to actually be out there after this world of filters and hiding behind our screens to get out there. But there's nothing like being in a positive social environment to really kind of not only get a chance to practice your pitch and introduce yourself to other people and get in front of clients. But like you said, build that team of experts. I remember when we started out in real estate investing, we were buying properties. We wanted to meet people. And because we were all alone, there was no other real estate clubs. There was Rain and there was us. And we weren't even a club then. Like we didn't know where to go. And Mississauga felt just way too far to go to for some reason. And we were expecting number four. I'm out to here. And on a whim, I just went on Meetup and did real estate investing, joint venture networking group. Free, Hilton, be there, holiday party. People showed up. I could not believe it. We still do business with those 20 people that came to the event this day.
that's awesome.
Fast forward that many
I
years.
absolutely love that. And that's so true. I mean, you fill the need, right? Like, who were you going to go bounce ideas off of? Or who were you going to go learn from? And like, how many people out there were like-minded, just looking for somebody else to kind of connect with on that same level? And you just provided that platform for them to do it. And I mean, these are some of the things that we've done with BizCon over the years, right? Like in the early days when we were putting these events together back in 2014, we just saw a need in the marketplace. And with BizCon, we've just tried to create an environment that has that energy and connects those people and unlocks doors and breaks the ice and gets people out, and we've been blessed in a way that we've been able to do that, and people have trusted us to the point where they'll come out in hundreds to attend these events. And that's the goal, right? Is just to provide an environment for people, just like you guys did with the real estate, to bounce ideas off them and to expand your networks.
Absolutely. Well, tell us what you were doing to build wealth before you started, using the strategy, and what
Uh,
pivotal moment happened in your life where you knew that you just had to make a change.
okay, I can't even call this building wealth. Literally, I can't. Um, I had a paradigm shift in my life where I began to view things quite a bit differently. I mean, like, I guess you could say building wealth in a sense that like I was saving, but I wasn't really building wealth, like I was working for another company. It was in the events industry, but it was nothing like the events that we're doing. And it was you know what I mean? I was saving, I was trying to get money together to buy my first house and things like that. And it opened my eyes to a few things. So, to say I was building wealth beforehand, I can't really say that I was.
So you're
Um,
basically trading time for money,
yeah,
working, and just
essentially.
going through
Yeah.
the same traditional financial planning.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just the traditional sense, compiling money in an account, maybe having like a couple little investments that the bank told me to do, and that was about it. And essentially just trading my time for that money and like mm, just that hamster wheel, right? Just running
This
on that
sounds very
hamster wheel,
familiar, this
help
story.
exactly. I mean that's what we're all brought up and raised to do, right? And you just got to break those chains. And once you break those chains, life changes entirely.
So what was that moment when you're like, no more, I'm off this hamster wheel. I'm not a hamster. I'm off the wheel. I'm doing
Ah,
something different. I'm going in business for myself. I'm
okay.
building betterevents.com.
Well, look, betterevents.ca first off,
Betterevents.ca.
or bizcon.ca, whatever. But both. But anyway, it's kind of a strange thing. Like I was pretty young, so I had worked in events from my early 20s and did it for about a decade. Right around my 30s is when I started Better Events. And towards the end there, like I worked for like a medium-sized company. It wasn't a large company. I got as high up as I could. The only person I answered to was literally like the CEO of the company. I was heading up an entire uh, like arm of that company. So I was heading up like the business end of it. I was like a residential business end. I don't have to get into exactly what it was all about, but um, the pain point for me was I just had ideals. Like I just didn't fully agree with the way things were being run. And I
Mhm.
was kind of just doing what I was told. And I've never been good at that, right? Like I've never been the kind of person who wanted to be told what to do ever, right? I think that's like common with a lot of entrepreneurs, that mindset. Like they want to do it their way and they don't want someone to tell them how it's done. They want to do whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me. And it just got to a boiling point where it was like, okay, like I can't, like enough's enough. Like I have to do something on my own. And I actually didn't intend on hosting like this specific event right away. But it did end up happening that way. But one of the pain points that I had as a new entrepreneur was just like I needed resources. Like I couldn't find half the things that I needed. And every time I turned my head, like there was something else that I needed just to be able to operate my business. Like I can't even sell without having all of these ducks in a row to be able to do that, right? Like I need this system, I need everything in place to be able to even get started.
Mhm.
Um, so the tipping point for me, like it's funny because before I started, I'm gonna take a step back because I think this is important. Um, there was like an all-time low. There was an all-time low because when I did quit my job, there was a period there where I really didn't know. Like I knew I wanted to do something, um, but I just wasn't quite there yet on it. And I remember going like a while without like employment, and like I was blessed in the sense that I had, some save some money to live off of, but like, it's never a good thing when you see the bank account going down, and
Mhm.
like a good amount of time had passed. It was several months, right? And I just remember thinking to myself, like, gosh, I got to get something on the go to like, I have to at least get something to supplement the income. And I was at my buddy's house, right? He just moved into a new place, and the cable guy came to like install cable. Like he was the tech who was like drilling the holes and installing the cable. And we found ourselves asking this guy, like, oh, hey, like what is it like to like do this? I'm like, hey, like like maybe we could get a job at Kojiko and like do what this guy's doing because this guy doesn't seem like anything special, you know? And I bet you he's making like decent money. And I thought to myself, like, wow, am I really there where I have to like ask the cable guy like how to get a job at Kojiko? You know, it was like this really low point where I was like almost like this state of hopelessness, like this is where I am now, that I'm asking the cable guy about a job at Kojiko. And then it was like, okay, like this is not how it's supposed to be. And then um I started better events and we started building up. And anyway, then I can segue into like having all those services that I needed and not being able to find them, and then getting this idea to build this business expo that connects people with those services, and both filling my need at the time and the need of so many other people. So we hosted our first event back in 2014 at the Hamilton Convention Center. It was a fairly successful show for a first event. And funny enough, people were coming up to us at the show being like, hey, great event. When's the next one? And just in true entrepreneur fashion, we're like, it's in Oakville in 3 months from now. And yeah, we just made it happen, right? And it just like kind of snowballed from there. And we're just blessed to have found something that people were really into and that really helped people and really served a need. And it's been a party ever since.
It's funny that sometimes as an entrepreneur, like you have to improvise. And as funny as that story sounds, it really is kind of like I think you saw your need for freedom, which is part of financial freedom. And because you wanted to do your own thing, you weren't quite sure, and you briefly revisited back to employment by saying, okay, what's something that maybe should I go back to trading time for money because of that fear of
Yeah.
the money dwindling. But even when you kind of sinking low to that level where you're asking people, just general people in your life, random people, what do you do? What do you, should I just take on that job? I think it was more of a representation of should I go back to work with someone else and doing a job, or why don't I just go and get a job at McDonald's or in fast food or whatever? But
Mhm.
people need to ask themselves that. Why don't I? Why don't I do that? And it's gonna bring the answer back really quickly, which is gonna say, because I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because if I go get work for a cable company, I go work for McDonald's, I go even get a professional designation and become a lawyer or even, become a psychologist. I'm working for someone else still. Like that freedom is really what I think that value is. And then also going back to doing really what you love, what you see a need for. I think that's so important. And I love the fact that you just ad-libbed and said it's in Oakville. You just made up a location, a date, a time. Why not? I remember after having those real estate events, after 3 months into it, a baby was born. And we're like, now what do we do? Okay, so for 6 months, we were the real estate investing group with a baby because we brought her. And she was there, and
Wow.
so were we. And so, as
That's awesome.
entrepreneurs, you really have to kind of just go with the momentum and ad lib. And look where it's gotten you today. I mean, hundreds of people, because we were at this event, are coming to these events. So there really definitely is a need for people, a need for knowledge, and a need for resource. So can you walk us through really your strategy and how you really kind of use this strategy to fast track your wealth and create financial freedom in your life?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, like we were lucky in a sense that we kind of had a cheat code, because we were doing it as our primary line of business, right? Which was we were expanding our network of people. Um, and we found that the more we expanded our network of people, the more we aligned with, the more that we would be introduced, and like they would have products and services that could support us, and then we could support them in turn. And our strategy, just as far as building the wealth, was essentially making sure that there was that the people that were trusting us were satisfied, right? And we just knew that it would come back,
Hmm.
right? So the strategy really was making sure that we were a trusted brand, you know. And that really has paid dividends to us. Maybe not right away, but we just knew in our heart of hearts that that's what needed to be done, is just to build that trust, build the brand, and give people something that they know what to expect when, when we're in any given market. And that trust has really been the backbone of our wealth building process.
Amazing. No, that's great. That's fantastic. So, how does the strategy go against conventional, like financial planning or advice or business advice?
How does it go against the traditional?
Yeah,
Well,
what
let's
we're
look at what
taught to do.
yeah, like let's look at what the traditional is, right? Like from an early age, like we're little kids, what's like one of the first like things that we have, like one of the first gifts or whatever it is, like our grandparents give it to us, we get that piggy bank, right? We get the piggy bank, we start putting money in the piggy bank, and like we're just taught like save your money, right? Like save your pennies, fill that piggy bank. One day you're going to be able to break that piggy bank open and buy the toy that you wanted the whole time. Um, and you know, that's what we're taught to do, and it's really not the best strategy. Really and truly, the way we strategize differently is we utilize our assets um as a tool, and we don't just like continuously accumulate like this very steady savings income, right? We take the assets that we have and we use them as a vehicle to drive more assets in, right? And I think that's the paradigm shift, right? It's like that's how you break the chain. We're taught to save those pennies, we're taught to get to like a specific number to attain this goal. And then essentially, like you empty that piggy bank, you get what it is that you were looking to get, and then you're basically starting again from zero, right? Whereas, business owners, entrepreneurs, people that have a different mindset, they essentially look at what they have as an asset that they can use as a tool to continue to build more wealth. Um, so it's like this, right? Like instead of saving your money in a piggy bank, what if you were to take your money in your piggy bank, um, buy some filtered water, some lemons, some ice, some sugar, right? You set up a lemonade stand on the side of the road. You've taken those assets that you have within that piggy bank. Now you've created a product. You've utilized those assets to create a vehicle to bring in more assets. And essentially, what's going to happen is you're going to put in a little bit of sweat equity, but you're going to double, triple, quadruple, depending, right? What you initially invested. And I think that's the entrepreneur mindset, right? Is they take what they have and they use it to build more wealth.
Yeah, the good old-fashioned lemonade stand. You gotta love that. Budding entrepreneurs on the side of the road selling lemonade. I think that's such a good analogy for
So
sure.
so let that if you see kids on the side of the road selling lemonade, make sure you stop and support them, because that is our future, and those are going to be the next leaders of tomorrow.
You know what's so funny is I always do. And sometimes I don't even take the lemonade. I'm just like, I want to make an investment in your business. And
That's
so,
awesome.
because I don't have sugar. So I
Right.
remember I was at one of my son's tennis matches at a local park, and this little girl had this lemonade stand. I said, "Oh, what are you doing here? This is so good for you. I appreciate you so much and what you're doing. Actually, I don't have sugar, so I can't drink your lemonade, but I want to make an investment in your business, just to tell you to keep going and how great you're doing." And she was so excited and ran off and told her mom. And it's always, it's so great to support these budding entrepreneurs as well, for sure.
That's amazing.
If you were starting from scratch today with no followers, no capital, no connections, what secret move would you make to get ahead fast?
Well, in true fashion and theme to this interview, I think it's pretty obvious, right? I would get out there and I would start expanding my network right away. I would be getting out to every possible event and place I could connect. I'd be going to Chamber of Commerce. Like I would be um, connecting with as many people as I could that I thought would, you know, unlock opportunities for me as I move forward in whatever endeavor it may be. Not even necessarily events, like it could be anything, literally anything. The first thing I would do is I would get out there, I would be proactive, I'd be intentional about expanding my network because I know the power of that and the type of opportunities and the doors that that unlocks.
Absolutely. And people should pay attention to networking events too that they surround. Like if they go out to as many of them as possible, like check the Better Business events and you plan them way in advance too, because I don't think you're making up them on the spot of locations anymore, are you?
Not anymore.
So people could plan those, but they could also go on meetup.com. They could go to
Yeah.
different things and find out what's happening in your area. And sometimes people with what they're going through, business and entrepreneurship is not easy, especially in these types of economies. And it really is important to learn what other people are doing, but also to keep up your spirit. Because sometimes people, when they're down in the dumps and business is not good, they do not want to be with people. It's kind of like they get a bit depressed and you become a bit recluse. It's impossible to build wealth without people. And I'm going to share this story, and I absolutely hate sharing this quick story, but I think it's very, very important. I think it's one that you might share too. We should just change the name of the person because it does start with Donald Trump. Um, but Donald Trump, when he was in one of his bankruptcies or almost floundering around, this is years before when he was just a real estate and a business guy, not president. Um, he was pretty in some hard times and he was invited to a dinner and he didn't want to go to this dinner because he felt awful, but he went. And at that dinner, he sat next to a banker, and that banker was the one helped him rebuild everything. You never know who you're going to meet. So even if you're going through a tough time or a time of transition, you never know. You have to trust yourself in people to build and make connections because you never know where it's like that web behind you. I see, like I'm actually physically looking at the globe and the web behind you, John, on your screen. It is just interconnections. You never know who you're going to meet. RPI Education is a team of wealth experts now. It's not Monica and Vaughn anymore. It's now wealth experts across Canada and the US that are able to come together and help people do this. So and we didn't know those people before we started hosting events and doing events and going to events and putting ourselves out there. So it's so important, like you said, no matter where you're at, no matter how alone you are in an area, seek out networks and always be building your network. I think this is like the number one rule for financial freedom. What's the biggest lie or misconception about wealth building that keeps 98% of people stuck?
Yeah, I think we touched on that, right? It's the mindset that we're taught when we're young. Just save and build your wealth that way. Just continue to invest your time, and that time is directly exchangeable for money, and then you amass that money in an account, and then that's your wealth, right? Like it's the piggy bank mentality, right? Um, and I think the misconception there is that that's not really the best way. Again, like I'm a big fan of taking the assets that you have and using those assets as a tool, whether that be to build a business or to invest in real estate or different investments, whatever it may be. Just take what you have and use it as a tool to help expand your net worth. Because I promise you that is going to be so much more effective for you than the traditional, just save your money in an account and invest your time. The
Save your
thing is,
money and trading time for money, I think.
yeah, yeah. The thing is, and we're also like, even our educational system really does teach us, grow up, get a job, trade your time for your salary, and that'll be your career. And the longer you're in that career, the more you'll be rewarded for it. And that's great. Like, honestly, there's really nothing wrong with that. And people do really, really well with that. Um, but you're tied to a system that has control over you.
Mhm.
That's why I call it breaking the chains. Like when you become an entrepreneur or you sort of free yourself financially, you've really just broken the chains of the control that the system has over you. Right? It's almost like modern day slavery. Like you're a slave to the system or you're a slave to the company that you work for. Someone will dictate when you can go on vacation. Someone will dictate when you're allowed to be at home, when you have to be at work, what you can and can't do for like the majority of your life.
Mhm.
I've always felt like, gosh, that's really no way to live. And there are different ways that people break these chains. Some people continue to stay in that corporate world, or they continue to, remain in their job that they were taught. You know what I mean? They went to school for something, and they break the chains via different forms of investing, whether that be through real estate or just their personal portfolios. They get to the point that they are no longer dependent on the system to continue. So if the system ever decides that, they will no longer fall into it, they have that backup that they're free, they're okay, and they can leave at any point. Other people go the entrepreneurial route where now you don't have a boss, you're your own boss. You decide when you go to work, you decide when you can be with your kids. There's no one, there's no like corporate entity that's gonna come. You work for a company for 20 years and hey, all of a sudden, sorry guys, claiming bankruptcy or we're shutting down, and then all of a sudden your world comes crashing down on you. And that's just another, because you're trapped in the system. That's why your world has come crashing down on you, because you've relied on it for so long. So I think breaking the chains is just getting yourself off that reliance on the system, whether that be through investments or your portfolio or through real estate or through owning a business. All of those are different ways to break those chains, and there's so many more.
I love that answer and I agree with you so much, but like we don't all have to be entrepreneurs to be financially free.
Yep.
And a lot of our clients at RPI Education, they'll come to us because they want to build wealth. We're wealth builders, help people build wealth through real estate, through alternative investments, through to create that income. And a lot of our people, their number one goal is not to leave their job. 80% of our clients are professionals. They love their job, but they don't like what traditional investments have delivered to them so far. They don't know how to grow their money properly, and they are scared. A lot of people in IT are scared of being laid off. And what do you do when all of a sudden your employer, because you've traded this life for certainty of a paycheck, is not so certain? And you don't have these skills, you don't have things ready to go, or the savings like you lived off of for so long eventually will go. If you're trading time for money, your money's not working for you, then you are losing money. Like Robert Kiyosaki would say, savers are losers. We want to be getting that money and investing that money. And the ultimate financial freedom goal, if you're not an entrepreneur, is to go to work every day knowing you do not have to be there. Like, how good does that feel? We've helped so many people achieve that. Yeah, I'm going to work and I choose to be here. And if they want to do layoffs or they want to do whatever, or I'm not going to be in that bad situation. So it's incredible. I think that really is the ultimate financial freedom goal for people who choose to be employees. Being an
100%.
entrepreneur, oh, we could go on all day about that. That's pretty funny, being an entrepreneur. No caps. No caps could also be zero.
Right.
We could have everything, but we could also have nothing. And we have all of our freedom, but with great freedom, also comes great power as well. And you have to really know how to control that power and control that time. So financial freedom, if you guys are out there, audience, and you have a full-time job, there is nothing wrong with that at all. But we obviously don't want people to be reliant, like you're saying, John. Traditional advice is it's like a meal ticket. Your job is a meal ticket, and you're trading that time for money just to pay the bills. You got to get your money working for you. A true indication of wealth is how much money you make when you're sleeping. That is the true indication of wealth. Now, what do
Good
you
one.
see the top 1 to 2% of wealthiest people and families doing consistently that the rest of the world ignores or avoids?
Um, yeah, I mean it's kind of back to that same thing. They are not transacting their time for money. They're transacting their value for money. So they view it differently, right? I would say that the majority of the population, because we were raised this way, we were trained to trade our time for money, right? Whereas sort of the top 1-2%, you want to call it, uh, they have sort of flipped it and they understand, okay, well, it's not so much that I'm trading my time for my money, I'm trading my value for money, right? So they've now freed their time.
Mhm.
And their value could be a number of different things. Their value could be their business and what they sell, or their product or their service that they sell through their business. Their value could be their portfolio. Their value could be their real estate assets. Their value could be any number of things. But they're no longer transacting time for money directly, even though time is a factor. They're not directly transacting time for money because they don't view it that way. And I think that's really what the difference is in the two categories of people, right? The average sort of working class person who is doing things the traditional way, which is okay, but they sort of understand that it's a time to value transaction, and the other people don't quite
Yeah.
look at it the same way.
Most people will come to some point in their life where they cannot trade time for money, whether it's an illness, whether it's caring for a sick parent or spouse or child, or whether it's like a complete job layoff. There is going to be a time that everyone is going to experience, where they're going to reach that pivotal moment, like I had, like you had, like everyone on the summit have, where you're like going to have to say, no more. And that's when, and I'm hoping that everyone who's watching this really takes this advice and really starts planning for that day um, today. So then when that happens, and I hope it never happens, but if it does happen, that people are able to shift a lot easier and really, really enjoy their life. Because when we have those everyday people say to us, oh, you know how it is, working hard or hardly working, ha ha ha, just tire kicking and trying to get through another day. Every day really is a gift.
Yeah.
And that really is a freedom. It's not a given. We're all one heartbeat away from death. Every day you wake up, it's a miracle. So, how do we make the most of the days and really live this life that it is that we really want? What do you really want to be doing? What are you trading your life for? If you're living a life that you are not currently satisfied with 100%, ask yourself, what am I trading my life for? And most of the time, it's the certainty of a paycheck. That is not so certain. That
Yeah.
is not guaranteed.
Have you ever heard the saying, you work to live, you don't live to work?
That's North American culture, whereas in Europe, they do not live to work. They work to live.
Right.
But no, sorry, North American culture is they live to work.
Right.
But, you know, it's opposite, it's backwards. So it's just like if you go in Europe and you're traveling there and people are knocking off at 1 and not coming back till 4 o'clock because they're with their families having a huge lunch, and that's
Right.
what the whole city's doing. That's what's important to them. And they don't care about, the money generated or missed opportunity or anything like that. And that, I think they have a better sense of enjoyment towards their jobs and towards their businesses and their lifestyle because they are able to prioritize really what's truly free to them. And I think I totally messed up that quote, but I think after that explanation, everyone should have an idea what I was trying to say.
We all get it.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience? I think you mentioned you're going to be including a free gift.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the value of networking, you guys. It has just unlocked so many doors, both for me and so many of our connections, people we know. And you're like Monica said, your network is your net worth. And we can really help out with that with some of our upcoming events. So as a free gift, we're just thrilled to be able to provide you guys with complimentary admission to our upcoming Toronto BizCon Business Expo and Conference. If you don't know very much about BizCon, it's a great opportunity for you guys to connect with like-minded business owners, executives, entrepreneurs, investors in the multiple hundreds that are coming out to these events in droves to do just that, connect with one another, expand their networks, and just find different people that can help them and different people that they can help. Um, so, I believe that we're going to link a free admission promo code. It's a $50 value. Tickets are normally $50. Please come on out as my guest. Love to have you there. It's on October 15th at the Grand Sentiment Convention Center in Toronto. You'll be able to go to our website. You can use promo code FF Summit, and we'll link a promo code there for you that'll already have that applied in the cart.
That's so generous. Thank you. And so I will make sure everyone, audience, the links will all be in this email where you are watching this video from. So go back to the email that we sent to you, and the links will be there. And we'll make sure that your video airs before October 18th, because actually I think our summit would actually just be wrapping up, I believe, on the 14th. So we'll
October
make sure,
15th
yeah,
is
October
the
15th. Yeah. We'll make sure that that airs before then. So that is amazing. Thank you, John. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you so much. And thank you, audience, for tuning in. Make sure to check your inbox for tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon to watch another amazing interview from our amazing wealth experts, learning how to fast track your financial freedom. Thanks so much, everyone.